Tonight we dive into a case that shook the state of Georgia to its core, a story of betrayal murder and a controversial execution. In the quiet town of Auburn, Georgia, on February 7, 1997, a man named Douglas Gissendaner vanished only to be found brutally murdered in a remote forest. His wife, Kelly Gissendaner, was at the center of it all, a woman who orchestrated a chilling plot to eliminate her husband. But what drove Kelly, a mother of three, to commit such a heinous act? Was it greed, desperation, or something deeper? In today's video, we'll explore everything from her chosen last meal to the final words she uttered before her death. Join us as we unravel the twisted tale of Kelly Gissendaner, the only woman executed in Georgia in 7 decades. This case revolves around one victim, Douglas Gissendaner, a 30-year-old husband-stepfather and Army veteran. Born on December 14, 1966, Douglas was known for his dedication to his family and his service to his country. He was a man trying to rebuild his life with Kelly, his wife, after a rocky marriage marked by separation and reconciliation. Douglas was the stepfather to Kelly's 2 sons from previous relationships and the father of their young daughter. Described by friends as hard-working and loyal, Douglas had dreams of stability, having recently purchased a home with Kelly in Auburn, Georgia. On the night of February 7, 1997, Douglas's life was cut short in a brutal and calculated manner. Stabbed multiple times and left in a forest, his death was not just a tragedy, but a betrayal by the person closest to him. How did a seemingly ordinary family man become the target of such a sinister plot? Let's meet the woman behind this crime. Kelly Renee Gissendaner, born Kelly Brookshire on March 8, 1968, grew up in a poor cotton farming family in rural Georgia. Her early life was far from easy. According to sworn statements from friends and family, Kelly endured abuse from her stepfather and other men during her childhood and teenage years. At 17, during her senior year of high school, she reported being raped, and 9 months later, she gave birth to her first son. This traumatic event marked the beginning of a turbulent life. At 19, Kelly married her first husband, Jeff Banks, but the marriage lasted only 6 months. In 1989, she married Douglas Gissendaner, and they had a daughter together. However, their relationship was unstable, marked by financial struggles and infidelity. After a divorce in 1993, they remarried in 1995, hoping for a fresh start. But beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Kelly's past, riddled with trauma and instability, raises a haunting question. Did her early experiences shape the path that led her to murder? The crime that would define Kelly Gissendaner's legacy began to take shape in late 1996. Kelly, then 28, was unhappy in her marriage to Douglas. According to testimony, she began an affair with a man named Gregory Bruce Owen, born March 17, 1971. Owen, a 25-year-old with a troubled past, became her confidant and ultimately her accomplice. 3 months before the murder, Kelly approached Owen with a plan to get rid of Douglas. She believed that killing him was the only way to escape the marriage while securing their house and a life insurance payout. On the night of February 7, 1997, the plan was set in motion. Owen lay in wait near the Gissendaners' home in Auburn, Georgia. When Douglas arrived home, Owen ambushed him, holding him at knife point. He forced Douglas into a car and drove him to a remote wooded area near Harbins Park in Gwinnett County. There, Owen struck Douglas in the head with a nightstick and stabbed him multiple times in the neck and back. The wounds were vicious, ensuring Douglas had no chance of survival. Kelly arrived at the scene shortly after, and together she and Owen set Douglas's car on fire to destroy evidence. His body was left in the woods, hidden from sight. The brutality of the crime was staggering. Douglas, a man who had trusted his wife, was betrayed in the most horrific way. But what drove Kelly to orchestrate such a cold-blooded act? Was it purely for financial gain, or was there a deeper motive rooted in her troubled past? The investigation into Douglas Gissendaner's disappearance began almost immediately. On February 8, 1997, when Douglas failed to return home, his family reported him missing. Police initially suspected a carjacking gone wrong when they found his burned-out vehicle. But as they dug deeper, inconsistencies in Kelly's story raised red flags. She claimed Douglas had gone out to run errands and never returned, but her demeanor seemed oddly detached for a worried spouse. The breakthrough came when investigators linked Gregory Owen to the crime. A tip led them to question Owen, who quickly cracked under pressure. In exchange for a plea deal, he confessed to the murder and implicated Kelly as the mastermind. Owen revealed details only someone involved could know, including the location of Douglas's body, which was found in a wooded area on February 20, 1997. Forensic evidence, including bloodstains and tire tracks, corroborated his story. On February 24, 1997, Kelly Gissendaner was arrested at her home in Auburn. Owen's testimony painted a damning picture. Kelly had planned every detail, from luring Douglas home to disposing of the evidence. But could the authorities have missed something? Did Kelly truly believe she could outsmart the law? Kelly Gissendaner's trial began in November 1998 in Gwinnett County, Georgia. She faced charges of malice murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors portrayed her as a calculating manipulator who orchestrated her husband's death for personal gain. They emphasized her affair with Owen and her desire to secure the couple's house and a $10,000 life insurance policy. Disturbingly, evidence emerged that Kelly had attempted to intimidate witnesses and even offered money to a fellow inmate to provide false testimony. The defense argued that Kelly's traumatic childhood and history of abuse contributed to her actions. They painted her as a desperate woman trapped in a failing marriage, not a cold-blooded killer. However, the jury was swayed by Owen's testimony, who had accepted a plea deal for life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. On November 19, 1998, Kelly was convicted of malice murder and sentenced to death. The verdict stunned the courtroom. She became the only woman on Georgia's death row. The disparity between Kelly's and Owen's sentences sparked debate. Owen, the one who physically committed the murder, would eventually be eligible for parole, while Kelly faced execution. Was this justice, or did the system punish her more harshly for her role as the planner? Kelly Gissendaner's execution was a long and drawn-out process marked by multiple delays. Initially scheduled for February 25, 2015, it was postponed due to a winter storm rescheduled for March 2, 2015. However, another delay occurred when officials discovered that the pentobarbital intended for her lethal injection appeared cloudy, possibly due to improper storage. The execution was finally set for September 29, 2015, but last-minute appeals pushed it to the early hours of September 30th. At the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification Prison in Jackson, Kelly faced her final moments. For her last meal, she requested cornbread buttermilk, 2 Burger King Whoppers French fries, a salad with Paul Newman's dressing cherry vanilla ice cream, and popcorn. As the execution began, she sang Amazing Grace and spoke her final words, addressing her children's godparents. I love you, Sally. I love you, Susan. Tell the Gissendaner family I'm so sorry. That amazing man lost his life because of me. If I could change it, I would have a long time ago. I hope they can find peace. She was pronounced dead at 12:21 a.m. on September 30th, 2015. Witnesses described the scene as emotional, with Kelly's tears and prayers resonating in the room. Her death marked the first execution of a woman in Georgia since 1945. But did her execution bring closure to those affected by her actions? The case of Kelly Gissendaner is a complex tapestry of tragedy, betrayal, and redemption. For Douglas Gissendaner's family, the loss of a beloved son, brother, and father left a void that could never be filled. Kelly's children, now without both parents, faced an unimaginable burden. Yet during her 17 years on death row, Kelly underwent a profound transformation. She embraced Christianity, completed a theology degree through Emory University, and formed a pen-pal friendship with renowned theologian Jürgen Moltmann. Her work with fellow inmates, including preventing suicides through the Struggle Sisters group, showed a side of her that contrasted sharply with the woman who plotted her husband's murder. The case sparked heated debates about the death penalty. Supporters, including Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano and former Georgia Supreme Court Chief Justice Norman Fletcher, argued that Kelly's rehabilitation warranted mercy. Others, including Douglas's family, believed justice demanded her execution. The fact that Gregory Owen, the actual killer, received a lighter sentence fueled further controversy. Was the system fair in punishing the planner more severely than the executioner? Kelly's story forces us to confront difficult questions. Can a person truly change after committing an unforgivable act? Does the death penalty serve as justice or vengeance? And what can society do to address the root causes, poverty, abuse, and desperation that often lead to such tragedies? As we reflect on this case, one thing is clear: the pain caused by Kelly Gissendaner's actions will linger for generations. What lessons can we take from this story to prevent